This Madonna and Child ceramic statue came to us really broken, missing pieces, including arms and some other features. And we're gonna walk you through the steps. It's gonna go fast forward in many sections. This first step, we use PC clear, epoxy. We start with the big segments. We have many tutorials on our website, lakeside.pottery.com, where you can see more applicable lessons perhaps to your situation. We also tell you where and what materials to use for different applications. Again, this is a PC epoxy, PC clear, 2 parts, 5 minutes epoxy. We love that glaze, that epoxy. We mix it with a pottery pin tool on a 3-inch bed. I'm going to take impression here of the missing pieces. I'm going to take something equivalent to what is missing, a segment of the crown. I'm going to cast it with a resin epoxy. This is also, it's 3-4 minutes cure time, 50-50 mix. Once it's cured, we take them off, we grind them to size. And cement, again, PC clear epoxy. This is a filler. The filler we use is 2 parts epoxy. That's a longer cure. We apply generously to fill up all the gaps and all the missing segments, small segments. This epoxy is called PC11, made by PC Epoxy, can be purchased at Amazon's. We cure it at 140 degrees, which cures the best possible way. It becomes very sandable. The missing pieces, in addition to resin, depend on the application, we use clay. It doesn't have to be. It's just faster and more accurate. We apply the clay and sculpt them to make the shape that is missing. The clay would shrink as it dries and get fired in the kiln. To overcome that, we slice it. You're going to see that soon. We cut it to segments. can see I use a wooden tool to shape the marks of the fingers. Later on we can refine the shapes to be more precise. The clay is just a foundation to build on. Here's the slicing. You can see that to about 2 inches segment, 1.5 inches. Then when it dries, it just falls off. We put it in the kiln. We fire it to 1800 degrees. And then we match the pieces to where they belong. It is again PC clear epoxy, 2 parts epoxy, 5 minutes cure time. When you cement the pieces on, some epoxy gonna squeeze out. Do not wipe it, let it harden right where it is. It's gonna make a mess if you wipe it. It's gonna smear everywhere. Now this is the PC11, 2 parts filler epoxy. Again, we cured it down at 40 degrees. It cures really hard and it's very sandable. It doesn't cure well below 70 or 75 degrees Fahrenheit. It takes a long time and it's not ascendable. You can see the clay is just the foundation. The PC11 is what we're going to use to refine the shape. Once it's cured, we're going to sand it. I use my finger. You don't have to. You can use cloth. This is 91% alcohol that I use. It makes the PC11 works just like clay. It doesn't stick to your finger. And the alcohol evaporates. It doesn't affect its performance. Do not use water. That water is going to affect the PC11 performance. According to the customer, this statue is the 17th century. It passed on within the family in Europe, and then when they moved to the US, it came with them. So it's very sentimental. The challenge here would be to restore the antiquity. You can see there's a lot of details, painting and texture that would be coming later. I'm filling the cracks of the segments that broke. And here I'm using the finger with 91% alcohol to smooth the surface a bit. The surface, it's just gonna save some time later when it's gonna be sanded down. This is the sculpted arm. Again, we apply the PC11 to the structure of the arm. We're gonna give it more refined shape. This is carbide sandpaper, 220 grit. It took much longer than I'm showing here. This is just a segment of the sanding. Took days really to sand the whole statue properly. Cementing the arm. I'm using clay, you can see on the base, to hold it in place while the epoxy is curing. Again, filling up with PC11. Using a Dremel first. It's a 220 grit disc, medium speed, just to take the rough amount, and then I'm gonna refine it with sandpaper. I would cement baby Jesus into Madonna's arm. I've done that last. Make sure that as I turn the statue around, it doesn't get banged. This is the Madonna's hand segments that we fired in the kiln. What I'm filling here is the gap. That's the shrinkage. It shrinks between 12 to 15% as it fired. That's why we cut it, so it would be easier to restore it back in place to the proper shape. If it was one piece, the hand would be smaller than it needed to be. Now, I didn't show the painting, the base paint, but I'm glazing it pretty thick so it would resist later scratching it to reveal the red under the blue. So again, this is acrylic, the blue is over the red is protected with glaze. So when I scratch the blue to show the red, it doesn't take the red off. It looks much worse before it looks better. See, I'm wiping some of it off to reveal some of the red. There were many more layers of painting. I'm just showing some of them. Again, it took a long time, a lot of cure time in between, a day or two. What I'm using here, we have all sort of sands and powders. It is mud. We have maybe 10, 15 different muds. And we mix it with bonding agent. So it would stay. And again, there would be many layers and rubbing off and more layers. I'm showing some of it. There are a few layers of glaze in between the paint layers, again to protect it so it wouldn't rub off as I scratch the mud when it dries off. I'm rubbing off the mud to generate different effects. This is again one of the steps. And that's what it looks like when it's finished. Again, I skipped several steps here. It gets boring. And here it is, all done, ready to be shipped. Again, you can visit our website, lakeside.pottery.com. Click on repair lessons. We have 30, 40 different lessons for different applications. Thank you for watching. Forgot to mention, we're located in Delaware. Most of what we do gets shipped to us from around the US, Canada, and other countries across the pond. Thanks again.